Welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. Today we're continuing our career, and the thing we're going to do right now is save Kerimin Kerman from his ship in the orbit around the Sun. We cut out the most of our ascent to orbit, and here we are going for the encounter with his ship, and it looks like we are very lucky. We're getting the encounter on the first orbit, and immediately we can get very close, of course discounting the distances involved in open space. So we're already on a good way. So let's fiddle a little bit with this maneuver node and see where we can get with it. After a little bit of fiddling, we got an encounter with 6,000 kilometers, which is pretty good for solar orbit in the height of Dune. So let's time warp to node and execute it. If we think about it, about the precision of our encounter, such precision would allow us to get encounter with even tiniest planets in the Kerbal system, such as Eeloo or Moho or the rest. So it is pretty accurate. And here we are, finished with our maneuver, just making tiny correction in the end, and let's time warp out of sphere of influence of Kerbal. And we done. So now let's refine our encounter, and the best thing to do it is at periapsis of our orbit. Even though we are far away from the Sun, our birth effect still does help us, and if we are closer to the Sun, we will use our fuel more efficiently than if we are away from the Sun. So again, I'll fiddle with the maneuver node and I'll see you when I'm done. And at this point I only managed to get about 4,500 kilometers encounter, and I decided, yes, that looks okay, because of when we get closer we will be able to do better refinement and probably get a very close encounter. So let's see how it goes. Our maneuver node is almost done. And we got even better encounter, 2,500 kilometers. So let's time warp closer to it and let's start killing our relative velocity. We have 2 kilometers of speed that we need to drop, so let's start doing that. We have more delta V than we will ever need, but in such encounter I think it is good idea to have a little bit more delta V, because we are not really sure what will happen. And as it looks like, if we burn not directly retrograde but a little bit to the side, we are also lowering our encounter, because we are basically changing the vector of our movement in the direction of the target. But as you can see, a little bit of weird things happens, because as soon as we get to some close point in our encounter, it jumps ahead to further away. Interesting. So I decided maybe going retrograde and changing velocity that way will help, but it doesn't. And regardless of all problems and bugs, we already got our encounter to 330 kilometers, which is very close. So let's try and refine it a little bit more. It's going up now, so let's just kill our velocity. We're time warping closer to the encounter, because the closer we are, the more our tiny maneuvers will change our approach. And again, our encounter is becoming closer and closer. We are now down to 230 kilometers, 220, and again it jumps a little bit ahead to 400. I'm not sure why it happens, but we can refine it further, and here we are with an encounter of 40 kilometers and 6 kilometers. And now we have an encounter of half kilometer away. That is great. We actually could have docked if only we wanted to, and if we had any docking ports. So let's see what it will take for us to completely drop our velocity, and it will take approximately 4 minutes. But due to the magic of video editing, we don't have to sit here for 4 minutes, so I'll see you when our burn is almost done. And here we are, with a very low velocity, and we are, as we see, 433 meters away from the target. Good! But our map shows that our closest encounter is 0.6 kilometers or 600 meters. What the hell? At this point some weird stuff happened. The ship was teleporting all around the place. It would just literally teleport away after some time. So I decided, well, we are close enough, let's take Kerimin Kerman and take him on EVA. It's not too far away, and he should be able to get to the spaceship using his jetpack. And here we are, approaching less than 300 meters, and again, the spaceship disappears. I have no idea why it happens, so I decided, well, let's try doing it fast way, so that ship doesn't disappear and we get time to nicely get in it. And it looks like this have worked. Kerimin Kerman is safe and secured in the capsule, and the science he got is also safe. So now we have to return home. We have to restore all the velocity we have to drop to encounter the Eeloo ship, and your eyes do not deceive you, it is a 15 minutes burn. So I will do that, and I will see you when the burn is done. Alright, we are almost there, and now we will change our inclination in regards to Kerbin, even though we actually at 0.3 degrees inclination. I would prefer to change it, especially considering that we have loads and loads of fuel. So let's do that and drop our relative inclination to 0.0029 degree, or very low. So now we have to get an encounter with Kerbin. And if we look into the future, on the 4th orbit we get this nice close encounter, which we can easily change into capture. So let's wait for 4 orbits and see what happens there. So here we are, 4 years in the future. Of course we could have done it differently. For example, we could have easily went for burn at periapsis or at apopsis, changing our orbit a little bit and probably get an encounter faster. But at this point I really wanted to just get over with it and get the Kerbal home as safe and sound as possible, and just waiting is apparently the safest way. Also, considering that we are now returning from almost Duna orbit, it is much closer, and our periapsis is much higher, so we are not going to experience too much in the way of re-entry effects. So let's do the little course correction at our apoapsis, making sure that our orbit intersects the one of Kerbal and gets our periapsis low enough. So here's our maneuver node, and here is our encounter, and we're just doing tiny correction to get it somewhere within 30 kilometers away from Kerbal. Okay, 55 is a bit high, but we can easily change it when we are already almost there. So let's time warp into the sphere of influence of Kerbal and see what happens. We are also getting in front of the Kerbal, so we are getting gravity assist with the planet that will help us slow down, and we are going to get in even slower speed than if we were getting from the side, or even worse, from behind of the planet. So here we are at 1100 kilometers away from the surface. Let's time warp a little bit, deploy our heat shield and ditch our engine. And this is the first time I'm using this heat shield for anything other than Duna, and I think it should provide us with not as much in the way of the heat protection, but a lot of drag and slow down our ship very efficiently. And I am correct. The large cross section of this shield acts as a parachute of sorts and allows us to slow down more efficiently via the atmosphere, and we're not getting a lot of shock heating. And as you can see, it also acts as a parachute because we are constantly slowing down even though we are pretty low already, and we should have the speed of approximately 100 meters per second, if I'm not mistaken. So let's deploy our parachute at approximately 2000 meters and wait for the nice touchdown. Here we can time warp a little bit, and we're done. Let's recover. And we got 3,800 signs from this go, and we can unlock antimatter reactors, which will also upgrade all of our other reactors and provide us with higher power output. So let's do that. In future episodes, we are going to use all this tech and probably go on some grand adventure to get 10,000 signs that are required for interstellar drive. But for now, thank you all for watching. Remember to like, dislike and comment this video in the section below. My name is Darlock, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.